When it comes to shooters, you can have the best positioning skills and the greatest game sense, but if you can't land your shots, none of that really matters. Of course, you can always turn to aim maps or something like aim labs to practice your shots, but there's actually a lot more to aiming than you might realize. In this video, I'm going to tell you the knowledge I learned that skyrocketed me to global elite and tournament Counter-Strike that translates well to any shooters you play. In fact, this first tip of many in this video might just change your entire perspective on shooting games quite literally. So I ask you this question. When aiming at something, do you look at your sight or crosshair, or are you looking at your target? If you are looking at your sight or crosshair and trying to track your target, then you are actually aiming wrong. What you should be doing is focusing on your target while you naturally center your sights on what you're focusing on. The reason why this first tip is so important is because if you are focusing on your sight or crosshair itself, you'll always be playing catch up with your weapon, whereas if you focus on your target, you'll be able to predict their movement a lot more effectively. Notice how I'm saying focus on your target rather than look, because there is a difference there as well. For example, look at this ceiling fan. Initially, all the blades are spinning and a bit blurry. Now focus on a single blade and suddenly that target or blade is no longer blurry and you can follow its movement. This tip alone has led ceiling fans to the brink of extinction, so please stop aiming at your ceiling fans. The next thing I would want to talk about is movement and crosshair placement. Now, some of you might have heard these terms before, but that's just because they are so very important. First, when preparing to peek an angle, you want to be as far away from the corner as possible. And that's mainly because the closer you are to a corner, the more of your body will show when you peek. You will completely throw away any peeker's advantage you may have if your elbow is sticking out before your gun is. Now, these aren't all the ways to peek, but because this video is mostly on aiming, I'm going to be a bit general when it comes to the peeking side of things. However, if you do want a more in-depth video on peeking, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Now that we understand the basic principles of peeking, it's important that when we do peek, we have our crosshair at the head level. With proper crosshair placement and a good peek, most of the actual aiming is already done, and chances are you just need to make micro adjustments, if any, to hit your target. If you peek a corner looking towards the floor or any other direction, you'll have to hit a flick shot, which is much more difficult. And in any competitive game where one bullet can make the difference, a bad peek could cost you your life. Take a look again at this clip from earlier in this video. Notice as I peek out left on very low health, I'm already looking at the head level and my laser finds itself nested directly on the enemy's face just before I tuck him in and read him a bedtime story. This next tip was a game changer for me personally, and it starts with another question. Have you ever tried to hit a flick shot or jump between multiple targets and felt your arm or hand tense up? Two things are happening here. The first is that your tensed up arm or hand is actually restricting your movement. An easy example of this is trying to move your arm while flexing. Second is that when in a tense state like this, mentally your reactions and your decision making are slower as well. This is why in the US Navy SEALs they teach you about box breathing. Box breathing is a simple but extremely effective technique to calm you down in stressful situations, and here's how to do it. 1. You start by breathing in for 4 seconds, then you hold that breath for 4 seconds, then you breathe out for 4 seconds, and then you hold that for 4 seconds. The important overall tip here is learning to stay calm during engagements. A relaxed flick will both be more accurate and faster. If you want to take your aim to the top level, you need to learn to perform not just in death matches, but in ranked or high-risk situations as well. One last vital tip I have for you can change the way you practice because you may be doing it wrong. Next time you do some aim practice in any game, I challenge you not to hit the fastest shots, but to have the highest accuracy. So many people, myself included, although not as much anymore, try to hit the fastest flicks and perhaps miss the first 3 and hit the 4th.
This is actually hurting your muscle memory, as what you're really teaching yourself is it's okay to miss the first 3 and hit the 4th. You want to try to have as close to 100% accuracy as possible, and naturally you'll get faster at this over time. What I used to do before tournament games in Counter-Strike was load up Deathmatch with a Desert Eagle, which is a difficult weapon to use, and try to hit as many one-shots as possible. Not in the fastest way, but the most accurate way. I stream on Twitch during the week, so feel free to ask me any questions about the tips in this video or write them down in the comment section below. If you are looking for or are curious about guides specifically for Escape from Tarkov, I'll put a link for those in the pinned comment section down below. See y'all later, and hopefully on the battlefield. I always love a good fight.